Hi loves, welcome back. So in today's video I'll be teaching you guys how to make this backless trending halter neck dress, and if this is something you're interested on, please keep on watching and do it to subscribe to my channel, and let's get down to the video. Welcome back guys. So I'll be working with this royal blue chiffon material, and this is 4 yards. So I'll be using this to make my birthday dress. I have my matching zip and the matching fancy. I've gone ahead to fold my fabric in bias form, and I'm going to go ahead to take my shoulder measurement, and I'm working with my shoulder measurement. I'm going to mark a straight line like so. So just go ahead, if you want to do the same for yourself, go ahead to mark your shoulder measurement, get where your shoulder measurement starts and mark that line. And as you can see, from this distance to this distance is where my shoulder measurement stopped. And the next thing I'm going to do is to go up by 4 inches. I'm going to go ahead to mark 4 inches from that end, and I'm going to connect it to the end of my shoulder like so. So go ahead and do the same if you are following along with this tutorial. Next off, I will just create my 2 double flace step, and the first line I'm going to measure, my cycle flail I'm going to measure is 35 and 33 that I'll be using for the flace. So I'm going to put my tape there where my shoulder stand, which is 8 inches, and I'm going to take this tape down to 35 and 33. So I'm going to first of all mark 35 to show you guys how this is going to look when we take it. So this is for the 35, and this is the longest part of my dress is 35. I'm going to go ahead to mark the second length, which is the 33. So the gap that the one on the step has is just 2 inches gap. So I'll go ahead to cut this out, and I will also go ahead to take my sewing allowance, which is 1/2 inch. I'm going to mark it at the top from that end, and I'm going to go ahead to cut that off, and I'll place it in order to cut for the second step. So I've gone ahead to mark that 35 that we cut off, which is the 2 inches extra gap that we're going to use, because I told you this is a double step flail. I've gone ahead to mark that there. So you just have to just mark it down like you see me doing, and I'm going to, after I was done, I'm going to also go ahead to cut that flail out like you see me doing. So now we have a 2-step flail. So which one is 33 and the other one is 35. I'll also go ahead to cut this out. Okay, so this is for my front pattern. I'll just go ahead to take the measurement where I want my back part to start, which is 17. I'm going to go ahead to mark that part with chalk, and I'm also going to go ahead to notch that part. So afterwards, I'm just going to go ahead to take my tape to take the measurement from that distance. Whatever I have is what I'm going to use to cut my back, and what I have is 16.5 for the first step, and the second step I have 18.5. So I have 18.5 and 16.5. So I'm just going to use this to cut my back top, or my back dress, sorry. So I'll just also go ahead to get the distance from my waist measurement, divide by 4. I'm going to go ahead to create this in bias form, and also give 1 inch for zip allowance, which after making this dress, I noticed that the zip is not even needed for this dress. You can even wear it even without the zip, but I've gone ahead to mark the zip area like so, and I'm going to go ahead to mark that first line. I'm just going to go ahead to add extra 2 inches. I'm going to add 2 inches there, and I'm going to connect because the back has a bit of a tail. So I added 2 inches as the tail, and I'm going to go ahead to cut. So if you want it more longer, you can add 3 or 4 inches at that end. So I went ahead to cut those parts, and I also go ahead to measure that 2 inches for the second flail like we did for the front. I'll go ahead to measure it round, and I'm going to go ahead to cut it out after I was done. So this is what I have for the back dress. So I'll just go ahead to cut this part. The only mistake I did was I didn't add the allowance on the top, so don't do the same. But never, it's not still bad with the back skirts. So I'll just go ahead to notch where my zip will sit, and I will go ahead to open that part up like you see me doing. Afterwards, I've gone ahead to cut the ropes that I'm going to use for the top parts, and the 2 rope there was for the back. So this I'm going to use for my strap on the top, and this is for the back part. And for this I have 8 inches, and I folded it like so, and I gave it a good press, and I have 2 pieces for it. And this I'm going to fold like you see me doing. I'm going to fold again and hold like so. I'm going to go ahead to iron this up like so. I'm going to fold it like this, fold again and also fold. And this is what I have. These are all my pieces for both my rope that I've already ironed and the front and back for the dress. So I'll just go ahead to work with the rope first, then I'll show you guys. As you can see, this is how I pressed it. I'm just going to go ahead to stitch that part round like so, and also do the same thing for this other rope. I'm going to go ahead to stitch this straight down and cut this part to stitch. So what I mean is I'm going to use my chalk to mark like so. I've already placed the 2 together and I cut, and I'm going to stitch like so. So if you watch that video closely, you know that is what we have at the video that I saw online. So the next thing I'm going to do is to notch both sides of my front, and I'm going to go ahead to take my rope, making sure that they are equal to each other, and I'm going to place them like so. Like you're seeing me doing this video, I'm going to place it like so, and I'm going to go ahead to just watch the way I pushed it. I'm going to place it like so, and I'll place it on that notch that I have at the midpoint of my top. And I'm going to also take the other part of my top, and I'm going to pin it down. And I'm just going to pin down everything, and I will go ahead to take that part on my sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch that part up. I'll also do the same thing for the back. I'm going to go ahead to flip this side up, take the other band that we're going to use to create the bow tie. I'll flip it to the other side like so. I'm going to pin down like you see me doing, and I'm just going to go ahead to measure 4 inches, and that will be where I will stop the sewing of that band that we have at the back, or our bow tie at the back. I'm going to pin that part like so together with the band or the bow tie, and I'll just push that inward and stitch just the fabric, the 2 back piece together, the lining piece and the main fabric together. I'm just going to pin it like so, and I also go ahead to sew it with a straight stitch. So I'll just also do the same thing that I did for the other side. I'm going to do it here like you see me doing. I'm going to place it like so, pin down, and I'm going to go ahead to mark that 4 inches that we marked for the first side, and I'm going to pin and stop where that 4 inch stopped. And I'm going to take off the band and continue with the 2 piece, which is the lining piece and the main fabric. So I'll just go ahead to stitch this up. After I was done, this is what I have, guys. So this is the tie that is at the back. I'm going to go ahead to fold my piece, both the back and the front like so. I'm going to fold it in and fold again. I'll do the same for both the lining piece and the main fabric and the front piece, and also the lining piece at the front. I'll just do the same. After I was done, this is what I have. I've gone ahead to stitch that part like so, and I did it for both the 2 back piece and also at the front piece. I've gone ahead to sew both the lining piece and the main fabric, and the next thing I'm going to do is to turn this like so, and I'm going to stitch straight down. and attach my zip. I'll do the same thing for the other side and attach my zip. I've gone ahead to fix my zip at the back, and this is what I have after I was done. The next thing I'm going to do is to join both the back and the front together. And this method I'm going to use in joining it will help because this is a backless dress. So I'll just place the main fabric, both the back and the front, right side facing each other. I'm going to use the front piece to turn into the back. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pin the main piece, which is the right side. I'm going to pin it together with the back. Everything I'm going to pin it together. And afterwards, I'm going to also go ahead to flip it to the other side. I'm going to flip it to the other side like so. And I'm still going to go ahead to pin down, and I'm going to sew. Just watch closely as I do this. So I'll just go ahead to stitch like so. And when I get to where the other layer is, I'm going to stop and flip it to the other side. So that's how you get that. And I'm going to also do the same thing for the other side. I'll just place them like you see me doing right now. I'll make sure that the right side is facing the right side. And I'm going to use the lining piece for the front to turn both the back and the front together. I'll just use the lining piece to turn both the front and the back together. And I'm going to stitch. And when I get to that point where the first layer stops, I'm going to stop so I can turn it to the other side. So I'll just go ahead to stitch that part up with 1/2 inch and also do the same thing for the other side. So when I get to that point where the first layer is, I'm going to stop the stitch so I can flip it to the other side and stitch up. I'm also going to do the same thing for the other side of my dress. I'm going to stitch, then when I get to that first layer, I'm going to stop the stitch. And this is what I have after I was done. I've gone ahead to stitch that part up, and at this point I'm going to notch that part like so and bring it to the other side and stitch up. So this is what I'm saying. When you do that, when you open your fabric, notice that you have a very clean finish on that end. So I'm going to just flip it to the other side, and I'm going to go ahead to pin it down and take it to my sewing machine. I'm going to stitch that part up and also do the same thing for the other side of my dress. After I was done stitching, this is the final look, guys. So this is why I said we should do that method. As you can see, we have a clean finish inside and out. So this part of my dress, I'm going to eliminate it. So I'll just go ahead to take that part off. I'm going to turn it to the lining piece and take that part off because I noticed that part is not needed. So maybe I'll make another video and teach you guys if you really want a detailed video on how to correct this. But meanwhile, it's just very easy. Slant that shape out, like cut that part out and make it a triangle. I'll stitch that part up and I'll do the same for the other side of my dress. I'll pin it down and stitch up, and this is what I have after I was done. I'll use this fancy to beautify my dress like the actual design. And if this is something you're interested on, please do wait to subscribe to my channel and turn off your notification bell so you know when I upload new video. And this is the finished results. This was for my birthday shoot, and the stage I made a detailed video on my live stream. So if you have not seen that video, please do wait to check it out, and I will definitely see you on my next one. Bye guys.